Hello and welcome to this story. In this video, you will listen to a simple English story. This story was written for beginners. Every sentence is easy and the language is simple. In this story, you will understand how was and were are used in real life sentences. If you listen carefully till the end, you are not afraid of English anymore. So relax, listen carefully. Let's begin the story. Ria was very quiet girl. She was not confident. She was afraid of speaking English. Her classmates were fluent and her teachers were strict. Because of this, Ria always felt nervous. Her heart was heavy and her mind was full of fear. When Ria was in school, English was her weakest subject. The words were confusing and the sentences were difficult. Her pronunciation was not clear and her grammar was poor. Other students were fast learners, but Ria was slow. She often felt that she was not good enough. One morning, the sky was cloudy and the air was cool. Ria was getting ready for school. Her mother was in the kitchen and her father was reading a newspaper. Everything was normal, but Ria's feelings were not normal. She was worried because there was an English test that day. At school, the classroom was noisy. The students were laughing and talking. The teacher was standing near the board. Ria was sitting on the last bench. Her hands were cold and her face was pale. She felt as if the whole room was watching her. The English test was very hard for her. The questions were long and the words were unfamiliar. Ria was blank. Her paper was almost empty. When the bell rang, she was sad. Her marks were low again. That day, Ria was very upset. She was walking alone after school. The road was silent and the trees were still. Her eyes were full of tears, but her heart was full of questions. Why was English so difficult for me? Why were others so good and I was so weak? At home, Ria was quiet. Her mother was worried. She asked softly, "Why were you so sad today?" Ria replied, "I was bad in English again. My marks were poor." Her mother was calm. She said, "When I was young, I was also afraid of English. But fear was not the end, fear was the beginning of learning." Her words were simple, but they were powerful. That night, Ria was awake for a long time. Her room was dark, but her thoughts were bright. She realized something important. She was afraid, but fear was not permanent. The next day was Sunday. The house was quiet. Her parents were busy and Ria was free. She took a notebook. The first page was empty. She wrote a small line. I was weak, but now I was ready to learn. She started with very simple sentences. I was happy. I was sad. They were kind. We were late. At first, learning was slow. Some days were boring. Some days were exciting. Mistakes were many, but lessons were clear. Every small step was important. 1 week later, Ria was more confident. Her sentences were better. Her fear was less. She practiced daily. Morning was practice time and night was revision time. Her routine was simple, but her effort was strong. At first, teachers were surprised. Ria was raising her hands slowly. Her answers were short, but they were correct. Her classmates were noticing her change. The girl who was silent before was now trying. There was one teacher who was very kind. She said, "Ria, your improvement was good. Your effort was visible." Those words were precious. They were like light in darkness. Months passed. English was no longer her enemy. The language was friendly now. Stories were interesting. Words were meaningful. Learning was fun. One day there was a storytelling competition. Ria was nervous but she was ready. Her parents were supportive, her friends were encouraging. The stage was big, the audience was large, Ria's heartbeat was fast. Her fear was still there, but her courage was stronger. She started speaking. Once upon a time, there was a girl who was afraid of English. Her voice was clear, her sentences were simple, her confidence was visible. When she finished, the hall was silent for a second, then the claps were loud. Ria was not the winner, but she was happy. Her journey was successful, her fear was defeated. That night, Ria was smiling. She knew one truth clearly. I was afraid yesterday, but today I was brave. From that day, English was not just a subject, it was her strength. Her past was full of fear, but her future was full of hope. Moral of the story: she was not weak, her fear was wrong, practice was her power. If you were afraid of English, this story was for you. Comment yes if you understood.